I have something really good to show you. Dan Goldman is a new congressman on the Democratic side. This guy is a major asset to the Democratic Party. He confronted Republican Congressman Jim Jordan during this weaponization committee. Republicans, when they took control of the House, created all of these bogus committees. We're going to do a Twitter committee to look into big tech. We're going to do a weaponization of government committee to look into the FBI and all these different things. Jim Jordan, during these hearings, has offhandedly been mentioning that there are dozens of whistleblowers who know the truth about what went on. Dan Goldman, who's an attorney, actually confronts Jim Jordan and says, are there notes about these whistleblowers? When will you give us the information about these whistleblowers? And look at how quickly and easily Jim Jordan is tangled up into a rhetorical pretzel. This is so devastating. The way that Goldman schools Jordan here is brutal. And I don't know why Jordan would have expected anything else from a former federal prosecutor, an actual prosecutor. Let's dive right into this. This is gold.
On providing that to the minority.
The point is, it wasn't special so much, it became the norm. With that, the chair now recognizes.
Can I have a point of order? There have been a lot of mention of information and testimony that you all have received from whistleblowers. When are you planning on providing that to the minority?
You could have been for the very first deposition, or excuse me, transcribed interview of the whistleblower. I was there when he testified on Tuesday.
Okay, that's fine. I assume you'll turn those over. But what about, you talk about dozens of whistleblowers. When are we going to get that information?
Remember, dozens means at least 24. You're talking about at least 2 dozen.
When they testify, when we work with, I'll work with the ranking member on that information.
You don't have any transcriptions of their interviews?
We have the first one, and we have the dozens who come and talk to our office.
They talk to your office privately?
They talk to Republican staff, right.
And they're not transcribed, no notes, no nothing?
The first one happened Tuesday.
No, I'm not talking about the first one.
The first one happened Tuesday, the next one happens tomorrow, the third one happens next Wednesday, and we'll continue to do that.
You just said dozens. Do you have notes from those, or they're just talking to you, your...
Yeah, at the rate at which Jordan's saying they're going to be talking to people, you're talking about a year before you hear from dozens.
Chairman, isn't that how whistleblowers typically work?
Well, it's how they're supposed to work. It's not how they worked in the impeachment that Mr. Goldman was a part of when
it goes into ad hominems.
Mr. Schiff said he didn't have contact with that whistleblower, but in fact
actually
he did.
It worked exactly appropriately until Mr. Trump would not allow.
We're doing it the way we're supposed to do it, Mr. Goldman.
No, you're supposed to turn it over to the minority.
When they come and testify, you'll have access to the transcript.
And understand what Jordan. So the point that Goldman is making is inquiring as to whether these dozens of whistleblowers really exist, because they keep being mentioned in passing. And what Jordan wants to focus on is you'll hear from them when they come and testify. But of course, both sides have people on the committee. Both sides get to ask witnesses questions. In order for the Democrats on the committee to be ready to meaningfully inquire of these supposedly dozens of whistleblowers, they need information about them. They don't even have names, understand that, and that'll be mentioned in a moment. Jim Jordan keeps saying, well, you'll get information when they testify. And Goldman says, but where are the notes? Where's the information so we can prepare? The implication, of course, is these dozens of whistleblowers simply don't exist.
Everyone on the committee will.
You mean your staff is not going to turn it over to our staff? We're just in the dark?
No, when the transcript is done, you will get the transcript.
I mean of the dozens of whistleblowers you have already talked to that came to talk to your staff.
Supposedly.
Yeah. What do you want me to turn over there?
Jim, are the whistleblowers in the room with us right now? Can you see them here?
Did you...
Their names?
Notes? Did anyone take notes?
I'll be happy to talk with the ranking member on how we handle that information.
Thank you.
All I'm telling you is we will schedule each for a deposition, and
That is not what he's talking about.
Doing that. You didn't show up for the first one, but you could have been there. With that,
I didn't know about it.
The chair now recognizes...
Goldman's a really valuable asset in this political climate. He is straightforward in his approach, but he maintains a professional demeanor. He has extraordinary attention to detail. He leaves no stone unturned in his lines of inquiry. And we all know the implication here, which is there is no evidence that these dozens of whistleblowers exist. We're aware of one supposed whistleblower. Remember also that the right has a history over the last, let's call it in the Trump era, in the last 6+ years. The right has a history of presenting someone as a whistleblower when they're not really blowing the whistle about anything. Like, I could call myself a whistleblower, but then if I show up and I basically say, here's the terms of service from Twitter and they were being followed, I'm not really blowing the whistle on anything, right? You can call me a whistleblower. You can turn on bright lights and put makeup on me and ask me questions and say I'm a hero and put me on Hannity or whatever. But I'm not really blowing the whistle unless I'm actually blowing the whistle. And so do these 24 or 36, I don't know how many dozens Jim Jordan, maybe, I don't know if Jim Jordan knows what the word dozens mean, but if these dozens of whistleblowers exist is a real question. And if people exist who are going to be called whistleblowers, there's a real question as to whether they are blowing the whistle about anything. So Jim Jordan is not the type of guy that can go up against Dan Goldman. Jim Jordan should be embarrassed in this way at every single hearing because he is a joke and it is humiliating. We'll have the clips I played for you here on our Instagram, which you can find at David Pakman Show, and on our YouTube channel. Search YouTube for David Pakman Show. You'll find it easily.